General evaluation. We're starting out with the prepared speeches. We're then going to go to table topics, and then we'll go to evaluations. That's our schedule by yours truly today. Our first speech, giving his icebreaker in 4 to 6 minutes, entitled "My First Marathon," Stanley Wong.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. When you look at me, what do you think? I'm a computer geek? I'm a math whiz? I'm neither. I'm a triathlete. A triathlon involves swimming, biking, and running in one day. Before I started racing triathlons, I started doing marathons first. During high school, I was that skinny kid in the back of the room. During college, Taco Bell was my primary food. At one point, my jeans grew to a 34 waist size.
Ooh.
I never attended a gym, and I learned that working out was for jocks only. One weekend, my good friend told me this inspiring story of what he had of the New York City Marathon, which got me interested in marathons. But I knew that wasn't for me, because I ran around the block once, and I felt I was going to die, so I did that only once. However, I did put my name in for the lottery for the New York City Marathon for next year, 2004. I was in Serenity that year. I was 24 years old. I was just finishing up my master's degree, and life was good as I started training. However, there were 3 setbacks to my first marathon. First, my mom. I told my mom that I was going to do a marathon, and she said to me, "Why are you wasting your time on this? Why don't you go find a job?" She was not supportive. Next, I have an annual physical. I told the doctor that I'm going to do a marathon this year. I could never forget what he said to me. He said, "Asians can't do this stuff. Your lungs are too small." And he was a Chinese doctor. That got me really fired up. And that day, I committed myself to this marathon. I said to myself, I will do this marathon. During training, I developed so many injuries: shin splints, knee pains, blisters. I thought to myself, is this even worth the pain for one race? On November 2004, I made it to the starting line. I was so inspired by the 30,000 other runners side by side with me at the starting line. As we started, there was a massive New York City crowd supporting and cheering us on. I had the greatest time. I was taking pictures out as I was running for 26 miles. I finished in 4 hours and 45 minutes. Not only did I have a great time, my mom did too. She actually came out and cheered for me. She thinks I am Superman now for doing this race. I learned so much about myself from my training. I knew I wanted a bigger challenge. I remember watching TV back in college, and one broadcaster said, "Triathletes are the most fittest people out there because it involves swimming, biking, and running, and it involves nutrition and mental discipline." I said to myself, I want to be a triathlete too. During last July, I completed my longest distance triathlon ever. The distances were a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, a 26.2 marathon at the end. I finished in 15 hours. Since I did my first marathon in 2004, I completed 9 triathlons and 7 marathons to date. I also learned that pain and suffering can be overcome by better training. And by better training means you could shop for more clothes. Because nothing else will fit you ever again. Remember that doctor I told you about that said Asians can't do endurance races? Well, I went back to him next year. And I reminded him of what he said to me. He looked at me and said, "Did I really say that?" Mr. Toastmaster.